joining us this evening for the Fresh Fiction Virtual Book Club. It's so good to see you. I think it's been years since we've had you because of the pandemic for an in-person event.
It's been a while for sure. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I was in Texas, I think the last time I saw everybody. So this is great. Yeah, this is really nice. Thank you for inviting me. Very fun.
Well, of course. I mean, and for some of our readers that are new to you, hard to imagine, but can you start off and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first got into writing?
Oh, I always wanted to write. I grew up in a family of storytellers. Some call them liars, but my uncle used to say, if you're going to tell a story, make it good or don't bother. And I kind of got into writing through writing for a newspaper and for writing for Woman's World. I wrote short stories for a while. I sold about 40 of those before I actually wrote a book, but that's what I always wanted to do. And I used to work for a newspaper, so I did a lot of writing and deadlines and learned to write short. So when I jumped into writing books, it was fairly easy. Actually, lately I've been working on a book and it's not that easy. You think, I'm on my 127th book and you would think, hey, I've got it down, right? No. But so anyway, yeah, that's basically it. I was born in Houston, moved to Montana when I was 5 with my parents, and just love Montana. So Montana is a huge part of all my books. Love, the outdoors and setting stories here. Yeah. So that's
okay. 127 books, because my notes I just had down over 100. Okay, so BJ Daniels, author of 120 something books. It makes me nervous that you say that. I mean, you're still finding this hard. I mean, what aspects of it are still so difficult, or are there certain things? Is it just depending on the book?
It depends on the book. I swear some books literally kind of, you feel like they wrote them, they wrote themselves. And then you get one that's just tougher. Yeah, a lot of it is just, you kind of know what you want to happen, or not to happen, but what it feels like. I write by the seat of my pants. When I start a book, I have no idea what it's about. It just kind of, the characters stand up and they tell me their story. And sometimes they're real helpful and sometimes they're not. So, and yeah, I keep thinking it's going to get easier, but I didn't really sell my first short story until I was quite old, which is interesting. So it's never too late. And so, yeah, I've written 100 and I'm on the 227th one right now. So, but yeah, it's work. I mean, and you have to like to spend time by yourself. And with me, I like to kill people. So that works out nice. I'm not in jail, so that's good. I amuse myself. I write books that I just write whatever makes me happy, and I'm so grateful that
killing people makes you happy. Okay.
I'm so grateful that readers like it too. It's like, wow, this is working out.
Well, writing by the seat of your pants, though, I mean, because you focus on mystery, romantic suspense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I mean,
you sound like my editor.
To me, there always seems like you should know, kind of have the general idea of like who did it, right? So you can wrap things up. And I don't get the sense of that from you.
No, I don't want to know who did it, because then that would ruin the book for me. I like being surprised. I read along, and I can see, the flaws in different people and everybody. I just assume everybody has a secret. And then suddenly you get goosebumps and you go, oh my gosh, I know who did it. And see it, that makes it fun for me. If I had it all plotted out and knew what was going to happen, I don't think I'd write it. It's like, I've already read that book. I need a new book. Yeah.
So do you ever have it when, okay, you get those chill bumps and you're like, okay, I know what happened, and you get to the end. Do you find that you have to go back several times to make sure that you're dropping the right amount of clues, red herrings? Does it actually make sense? I mean, yeah. I would think that adds additional layers to your process.
Well, I don't have to go back. That's the scary part about it is I have a friend who says that all the stories come from outer space and all we do is just type them. And I swear sometimes it does feel like that, because years ago when I was writing short stories for Woman's World, I was writing this one short story and my hero kept limping. And I was like, So I deleted that and I kept going, and he kept limping, and I thought, what in the world? So I thought, fine, just limp, and got to the end of the story, and it made perfect sense why he was limping. So it's kind of like somebody knows more than I do about the story, and I just have faith, and I just kind of go with it. And yeah, I don't usually have to go back. Every once in a while, I'll add something that just makes it a little bit stronger, but that's about it. Yeah, it's all seat of the pants. Who knows where it comes from? But I love doing it. It's really
Oh, wow. I know in previous things that I've read that you say that you need to get the sound of the book on paper when you're writing. What do you mean by that? I mean, what's the sound of the book?
To me, every book has kind of its own sound, kind of its own feel. And I have to feel that. I have to, I'm not sure what it means actually. It's just a feeling I have when I start a book that that I know I'm in the right place and these are the right characters, and it just feels good, and I can write it. I'm this is very good, but yeah, it's there. It does have a sound to me. Now, most people won't hear the sound, I don't think, but I hear the sound. Yeah, my cousin.
Well, it's just such an interesting description of it, right? And it's like, okay. And
yeah.
Is the sound different between each individual book? Is it like with the Colton brothers, is that a different sound compared to your other series?
It is for me, and especially between the HQNs, which are now called something else, but the HQNs and the intrigues, there's definitely a different sound, and there's kind of a different pacing and some other things. Yeah. I had a cousin who just recently came and visited, and he thinks there might be something wrong with me. So there you go. I was explaining my process to him, and he was like, "Woo, maybe you should see a doctor."
Well, and having written so many different books and having multiple series, when you're looking at things, I mean, how do you determine, is this a book that is going to continue within one of the worlds you've already created, or is it really time to start a new series?
Yeah, that's tough to know when to stop. I think I've done like 6-book series, and I've done shorter ones, like 4-book, 5-book series. It's kind of like I don't know, I can kind of feel like maybe the readers are tired of those characters. And oftentimes they say they're not, but I think, well, maybe I'm tired of those characters. I don't know. But right, I'm doing a new series, and there'll be a lot of the same characters, which is really going to be fun, but I'm sure you'll want to hear about that later. So I won't jump ahead here.
We always enjoy the sneak peeks into what you're working on.
Yes. Well, and I have the new covers are what's so amazing, because the new series that I have coming out starting in July, on the back cover are all of the characters of the main characters. Yes. Which I haven't seen that done before. So I'm really excited about that. And the second book in that series has 2 cowboys and a girl on the front. So something.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is it that is so appealing to you about cowboys?
I live in Montana, and I think it's not so much cowboys as just the lifestyle up here. The men are, they can fix anything. They have to be able to have a lot of skills, because you can break down anywhere, and it's to me it's more of a lifestyle, but it's kind of a cowboy. It's a cowboy lifestyle for sure. Yeah.
And that's one of the things I've always enjoyed with your books, is how you merge all of the suspense and that mystery, and you've got it set in Montana, so you've got that cowboy sense of like you said, that they are unique, right? It's a lifestyle.
It is. It's a lifestyle. It really is. And my husband, he used to be an outfitter. he can ride a horse, and he can pack he can pack a horse or a mule, or, just skills that, I personally don't have, but are wonderful because the people around me have those skills. So it makes it fun. Yeah.
Do you think your history of working for a newspaper and being a reporter helps you take what you're observing and the people that you know and bringing it into your books?
I do. I think working for a newspaper was just a great experience because, like I said, you learn to write on deadline, you learn to write tight, you learn to, compact the story, just tell what's interesting, what's important. And you meet a tremendous amount of people. I have a very bad habit of asking people very personal questions because I think I have the right, to know, I'm a writer. Come on, tell me your secrets. So yeah, it was great because when I did work for the newspaper, I did ask people those questions, and some of them even answered them. Now, I don't work for a newspaper, and they're not as not as good about answering what I want to know, but I still ask.
And when you're working for the newspaper, I have to ask, since you do enjoy killing people, did you write those types of stories for the newspaper?
No. But I wish they had, sent me on some of those. No, I didn't get to do that, unfortunately. I did a lot of features. And so that was fun because I got to meet a lot of different people. And actually, I did a lot of research. If you want to know about branding or something, I'll cover a branding story, So it was great. It was a great experience. But no, they wouldn't let me kill people there. So, but as long as I get to kill them in my, with my, I spend so much time with my pretend friends, killing some of them, saving some of them. So, writers are a little weird. I don't know if you've noticed.
Oh, just once or twice,
Not bad.
And with all that, how much research do you find that you do need to do for your books?
Tons. It's amazing, because I think it's hidden well enough that people often are surprised, and they're like, you do a lot of research? Oh, I do a constant research, because there's so many things you do not want to get wrong. Readers are very, very sharp. And if you make a mistake, you will hear about it. So you better know what happens when somebody drowns, or if they're shot, or, I'm constantly going to Wikipedia and finding out facts about where I've set my stories, and all the things that have to do with the books, and especially the killing part. And I try to stay away from cops, procedurals and stuff. But because in Montana, these are a little looser. It's not like New York, where I'm sure the cops do different things than they do out here. If they know you, and they come to talk to you, it's much more informal and not, not always kind of by the book, depending on who the cop is, or and a lot of them out here do wear their cowboy hats, and, and yep. Oh, and their boots and all that. Oh yeah. So,
so there's inspiration around every corner, right?
Oh, there is. And I try to stay, true to form. Yep.
Now, have you found that you've gone down different research tangents, and you're like, well, this is really interesting, and how am I going to actually fit it into a book? Do you have like that one interesting nugget that's just kind of sitting and waiting because you haven't found a good spot for it yet?
Well, it's tough because my new series that's coming out, it's in eastern Montana, and one of their biggest problems there, I try to make some of it, as realistic as possible, is coal bed methane drilling. And so when you go down that rabbit hole, oh my gosh, but I try to do both sides of it. So you've got some characters, on one side and on the other side. So you get kind of a, it's not just, I don't get like on my soapbox and tell people what I think. They don't care what I think. So, but yeah, there's certain things. And my one of my first books, the one that actually the one that Bill was talking about that he got at the fair, I'd heard my parents talking about a gun being found in a well when we lived in the Gallatin Canyon. And so, of course, I had to have a body in the well. But those things, and then of course, then you have to find out if that body's been in there for 25 years, what would it look like? So a lot more of that sort of thing. It always helps if you have a coroner friend or a vet, somebody who can help you with the details. So.
Mm-hmm. And a follow-up on your overall writing process. I mean, having written so many books, have you found that your process has changed, or even the research or just any of it, from when you first started writing the books versus your current release?
That's a good question. I don't think so too much. There's sometimes when you're on deadline and you don't have the time to, take a couple of weeks off and think about this, or are you with me? I paint myself into a corner and wonder how I might get out of that. I might take a day off, but if I can't get out of that situation, I will jump ahead. And if I see a scene, or if I hear a scene in my head, which often happens, sometimes it's the next book, which is real annoying. You're like, not now, wait your turn. But if they're really bothering me that I need to write it now, I will write a scene out of order. It's a pain, but it does help when you go to that next book sometimes. But yeah, it's better to write in chronological order, because then you don't have to go back and go, what day is it? It's tougher. It is tougher.
Mm-hmm. And so with that, so you only write one book at a time then?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, those characters, they talk to me. And so I have to, stay in their story. Unless,
and what is usually your turnaround time for getting at least your initial first draft?
It usually takes me about 3 months to write a big book. And depending on with the intrigues, sometimes, you could write one in 3 weeks, and other times it takes about 2 months, sometimes more. It just depends on the characters, if they help you out or not. Yeah. But I treat it like a full-time job. In fact, full-time job. I work every day. If you keep the story in your head, it's so much easier. So I write something every day. My husband would tell you I work constantly, but I really don't. But I do write something every day.
Do you find that you have certain tricks to get in the right mood for it?
I do.
Because, I mean, you're writing heavier stuff at times, right? And so hopefully you're not constantly in the killing people mindset all hours of the day.
No, not usually. No. Because a lot of it is, it's emotional with the characters, getting to know the characters and their flaws and all of that. I have an office that's about 3 blocks away from where I live in this small town. And when I walk in the door, it's time to go to work. It's just, that's what I do. I don't check Facebook. I don't do email. I just work, and the characters are waiting there, and I just write. So I'm really good about that, because I enjoy it so much that it's not like work to me most days. So yeah, but yeah, to get into that frame,
that you have another outside office for that. So when you leave the office, are you able to leave things there, or are you then constantly jotting down notes once you get home too?
Sometimes when I get home, I have to grab my computer and write something, because on the way home, they're still with me, and they're still talking. And I'm like, okay, all right, I got to do this and I got to do that and write this down. Yeah. Yeah, it's awful. I've been writing for so long. And I remember my daughter was young. She'd be telling me something, and all of a sudden she'll look at me and she'll go, you are writing. You're just, you're not there. Hello. And it's true. It's all consuming. It really is, because, and this is awful, but your characters become so real to you. It's like, when I was doing one of my books, I can't remember which one it is, but I moved Yellowstone Park. I had to move it about 10 miles in to the left. So now when I come over that hill, I'm always shocked to see where it is, because in my mind, it's 10 miles over there. And it's the same way with everything that I've made a little town there. When I come over the hill, I expect to see it, because it's so real for me. So yeah, you can see why.
That's what we love, because that then comes across in the stories. So as readers, we enjoy that.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I love it. Yes.
Well, I want to switch over to what we call our fresh fiction facts. But before I do that, you've mentioned the new series that you're working on. Can you give us a teaser?
Yes, it is called Powder River. And there is a Powder River over there. I went over and researched it, of course. And it's Eastern Montana is where I live. There is like, is it 3 cows to each person at least? Over there, it's a lot more cows and a lot less people. So it's very isolated, which makes it kind of fun because it's its own little, the Powder River Basin is its own place. And I have 2 ranch families, one that's run by a matriarch and the other by the patriarch. And of course, they have a history and their ranches are right next to each other and they are at war. So, and their children have been involved, you know, pulled into this war between them. And so it's like these 2 families. The story is really about these 2 families. And then there's other characters like the sheriff who's grown up with all these kids. And so, yeah. And like I said, I'm just having a ball with it. Yeah. I hope everybody likes this as much as I'm having fun with it.
Some murder, mayhem, and still romance, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you've got to have that. And, you know, and just people. I love writing about people. And so it isn't just murder because, and I just find it fascinating that, you know, how people react to different things. And so, and you get that emotion. If you can get enough emotion in your characters, then I think readers really enjoy that. I enjoy them.
And of course, then the next question is, and when should we be on the lookout for that?
July.
July.
The first one is called The Dark Side of the River. And be sure and look on the back of the cover because that's the main characters from both families. Yep. Isn't that cool? I know. I'm very excited. Very excited. And then, like I said, the second one is called River Strong. And there's nothing weird. It's 2 cowboys that she's grown up with. And at some point, she's going to have to pick one or the other one. So, okay. And there's all kinds of other stuff going on, of course.
Okay, well, let's jump into the fresh fiction facts. Okay, these are meant to be a series of quick questions. What comes to the top of your head? Not really trying to stump you, but it does occasionally happen. Okay.
Oh no.
Okay, what is your favorite writing fuel?
Favorite writing fuel? Oh, well, that would be Coke Zero. Not too much.
Who was your first book boyfriend or girlfriend?
Oh, you know, it was The Flame and the Flower, Woody Weiss. Yes, I was in love with both of them because I thought if they don't get together pretty soon, I'm going to start screaming. I loved it. And that was my first romance that I'd ever read. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Yeah, long time ago.
What is one luxury item or unnecessary product that you just cannot live without?
Oh my gosh, water. I love lakes. I love summer. Yes, just put me near water and I'm going in it. I was over in the Atlantic when it was really cold, and a friend of mine who's also one of my readers, and she said, "You can't go in; it's too cold." Oh yeah, I can go in. I'm from Montana. Come on.
So I'm guessing your ideal vacation would be somewhere with a beach.
I do like that. Or it's got to have palm trees. Yeah, just give me a palm tree and some water, and I'm good. A pool work.
How do you celebrate a new release?
Oh, geez. I tell you, I used to. And then all of a sudden you're writing like 5-6 books a year and you're like, geez, your husband's like, no more celebrating, I think a lot of it to me is there's just that I have that emotional release. I am so emotional when I finish a book. I am so involved with these characters, and I just kind of take a minute and catch my breath. I clean my office and then I'm ready for the next one. But and then I won't remember that book. You know, people say, well, remember the book, and I don't, because I've let go of those characters and now I'm with some other characters. So it's kind of like ex-husbands, I think. No, maybe not.
What is one thing that can instantly pull you out of a story?
Oh, if it's something wrong, especially when, you know, everybody writes about Montana. They like stories in Montana, and I do too. But if they do something and it's like, oh, good heavens, no, you know, or if like on page 2, I realize who the killer is. That, and that happens. And, you know, when you're a writer, unfortunately, you spoil it for everybody else, because you pick up on those things a little too fast. I love a book that surprises me, that I don't know how it's going to end. Oh, I get so excited about that. Or a show, because oftentimes I figure it out too soon. So.
How do you unwind after a good or a bad writing day?
Oh, usually home shows. I just go home and I watch home shows. I can watch one after another. I'm like, oh, don't buy that house. No, not that house. Oh, then they always buy the wrong house. Doesn't that drive you crazy?
Of course, right? What is the most terrible movie that you legitimately enjoy and could just watch over and over again?
Oh, geez. Oh, that's tough. That's really tough, because my husband thinks they're terrible. I love Sweet Home Alabama. I don't know how many times I've watched it. It's one of those, it's just so sweet and the music's good and you're like, oh, you know, but I don't hate it. Yeah, but he does. He's heard it too many times.
Okay, this one is definitely kind of weird. It's going to put you a little bit on the spot. What is one word that you can never pronounce right?
Oh, geez. I was born in Houston. My parents spoke Texan, and there are so many words that I mispronounce. It is terrible. Oh, my granddaughter loves edamame, and what are those? Yeah, those green things. She can say it. She's 10. She can say it when she was 3. And I'm always like, do you want the edamame? Yeah.
Well, you did say it right the first time, edamame. So yeah.
So that was pretty good. I'm getting better. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit better. But yeah, you know, my parents they spoke Tex-Mex or well, we ate Tex-Mex. I'm not sure what that language was that they taught me. But when I got to college, people made a lot of fun of my English.
Okay, you've been kidnapped. 2 hours later, you're returned because you cannot stop talking about what?
Oh, that's a good one. Oh man. I think if I was kidnapped, I'd probably talk about my kidnapper and, you know, tell him why he couldn't be in one of my books. How would that be? Go, there's no way, bud. No. Not even as a bad guy. You're not very good.
What is something that you own an absolutely ridiculous amount of?
Oh, geez. You know, shoes. And it's really dumb because I know a lot of people who have a lot of shoes. I think it's real common, but it wasn't for me. I would have 3 pairs of shoes. I would wear them out. And all of a sudden I look in my closet and I have all these shoes that I do not wear because I still wear the 3 pair. You know, you have the winter, the summer, and, you know, the tennis shoes. So I don't really understand where they came from, kind of. You know? Somehow I just must have thought I needed them, but.
What is your most dog-eared or most reread book?
Oh, geez. I'm trying to think what that would be. Oh. Wow, that's tough. I have so many books beside my bed, and most of them are dog-eared. And yes, I do. They're my books. I love them. I live with them. I fold over the corners. I know that'll get me a lot of flack, but guess what? They're mine. I met a woman one time on a cruise, and she said, we were both readers. So I said, you want to trade books because I'm running out of books? And she said, oh, I'd love to. She goes, but my books are really beat up. And I'm like, well, that's fine. I like beat up books. It looks like somebody loved them, you know? So sorry, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I read so much, and
I did come up with a stumper then. Okay.
Well, yeah, you got me on that one. I read about 4 at the same time. At night I pick up whichever one seems like I'd like to go back to first.
Mm-hmm. And when you're reading so many at the same time, are they generally the same genre, or are they completely all over the map?
They're all over the map. Yeah, just kind of depending on your mood. They say that you never read the same book twice because you've changed. And oftentimes I'll pick up a book and I'll start reading it, and it just doesn't grab me. So I'll put it aside because I know that there'll come a time when I'll pick it up and I'll go, whoa, what's this? This is really good. Because it's the mood I'm in. It's not the writer.
Yep. Just that point in time. Totally understand.
It is.
Okay, well, we're going to end with one which should be easier. What is the best way for our readers to follow what you're doing, keep in touch, and keep track of new releases?
They should go to my website, which is www.bjdaniels.com, and they can sign up to get a postcard, or they can sign up to get a newsletter. So my newsletters. Also, they can go to Facebook to the BJ Daniels Big Sky Darlings page, and between me and my assistant Christy, they'll know everything that's going on. Yeah, she doesn't. And then of course everyone has also found me on my other Facebook page, which is fine too. I love visiting with all of them, so it's nice. I know.
But we always like to hear all the different options. So that's always great.
There are. And the thing is readers, like I said, they're very smart. They'll track you down. They know where you are. They know where to find you, which is great.
Well, Barb, thank you so much for joining us this evening for Fresh Fiction's virtual book club, but stick around for the happy hour that we have with our readers offline.
I will. Thank you. It's been fun. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks.